catastrophe.
U.S. Vice President JD Vance outlined the state of Ukraine negotiations, saying challenges exist with Russia, Europe, and Ukraine itself. He noted all issues are now openly on the table, allowing negotiators to identify what's non-negotiable versus negotiable. Vance highlighted Russia's insistence on territorial control of Donetsk, which Ukraine views as a major security concern. He added that Ukraine privately acknowledges it may eventually lose the region, though the timeline is uncertain.
I think the Russians really want territorial control of the Donetsk. The Ukrainians understandably see that as a major security problem, even as they privately acknowledge that eventually they'll probably lose Donetsk. But, you know, eventually, it could be 12 months from now. It could be longer than that. So that territorial concession is a significant holdup in the negotiations. That terrible territorial concession, I should say.
Other sticking points include control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear facility, management of ethnic populations in contested territories, and the reconstruction of war-damaged areas. With Ukraine focused more heavily on rebuilding than Russia.
I think that there were other somewhat more minor issues. Who controls the Zaporizhzhia nuclear facility? Can it be jointly controlled? Does it need to be controlled by one or more side? What ultimately happens with ethnic Russians who are still in Ukraine? What happens with the ethnic Ukrainians who are still in Russia? Ukrainians who are currently in Russian-occupied territory but want to live in Ukraine. How do you facilitate that? And many of the Russians have asked similar questions.
Vance stressed that despite public leaks and media coverage framing provisions as pro-Russia or pro-Ukraine, the parties are negotiating in good faith, and such leaks are part of the negotiation process.
We help older Americans in retirement, including by ending taxes on Social Security, because we believe in honoring your father and mother rather than shipping all of their money off to Ukraine. We believe in taking care of the poor, which is why we have Medicaid, so that the least among us can afford their prescriptions or to take their kids to see a doctor.
He acknowledged progress has been made in recent weeks, but emphasized the outcome remains uncertain. I wouldn't stay with confidence that we're going to get to a peaceful resolution. There's a good chance we will, and a good chance we won't, Vance said. At Turning Point USA's AmericaFest in Phoenix, Vance pledged to prioritize American retirees over foreign aid, sharply criticizing U.S. funds sent to Ukraine during the ongoing conflict with Russia. Vance said, since February 2022, the U.S. has allocated roughly $187 billion to Ukraine, mostly taxpayer-funded. Linking foreign aid to domestic policy, Vance criticized Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for allowing Somali immigrants to allegedly defraud Medicare. Over 90 individuals face charges in a $250 million COVID-19 relief fraud scheme.